Hi again, Rauf. So you've written your next essays. I'm very happy to see them. Let's take a look at what you wrote today. For school children, their teachers have more influence on their intelligence and social development than their parents. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Okay, interesting. Here's what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether parents or teachers have a greater impact on children's education and social skills. Okay? This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. My one little suggestion right now is that I see that you've tried to use some synonyms here. Education and intelligence are not synonymous, okay? So be careful. I'm just telling you this because maybe you develop it appropriately in your paragraphs, but they're not synonyms, okay? So be careful. Let's see what you did. And another thing, it asks you to what extent you agree or disagree. You never answered that, so I want to see that here. It doesn't ask you to discuss both sides. I mean, you probably should, but what you really need to say here instead is that it is my opinion that XYZ, you know, and then I know that in the course you've gotten a lot of suggestions on how you can finish off this sentence. So, but you really should make a point. When it asks you directly to what extent you agree or disagree, you should really say that in your introduction. Okay, so on the one hand, there is ample evidence that teachers play an undeniable role in pupils' intellectual capacities and social abilities. Good. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, children spend more time at school learning new skills and knowledge. Secondly, what do you mean? Give me some more information. Don't just go into secondly, but explain to me what effect. I mean, just because you spend more time with somebody, how does that necessarily mean that they're going to help your intellect and your social skills? So explain it, how the time can affect this. Okay. Secondly, teachers are more experienced in mentoring, which is an exceptional point for taking a holistic approach to development of pupils' abilities. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 80% of all children attended school to get superior education during the last 2 decades. What? All right, you're still not really telling me this, so I'm still confused. Like, the question is, who has more of an influence, teachers or parents? And you're saying that teachers play an undeniable role. Okay, this isn't really the example I would have expected. Okay, I wanted to hear something more about the materials teachers give students, you know, things that parents couldn't do, wouldn't do. You know, they teach them about a different range of subjects and just something else. But this isn't really probably the best example here. Okay. So, therefore, it is conclusively clear that as families prefer school for further educational and social development of their children, teachers undoubtedly act as a possible guide. Not a possible guide, as a certain guide, as a necessary guide would be good, okay? All right, let's move on. On the other hand, although there is a case for teachers enriching intellect and social skills in school children, the impact of parents cannot be overstated. This is largely because parents are the most reliable and trusted parties for children. For instance, an extensive survey by Oxford University showed that almost all the pupils in London prioritize their parents over tutors if they face difficulties without the width in their studies and in social life. Good, that's a nice example. Consistent with this line of thinking is that from the birth of their offspring, parents play the role of cocoon for them. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that an encouraging, not nurturing, but how about encouraging nurturing, maybe nurturing, by parents has a tremendous effect on children's socializing and way of thinking, not on, okay? So socializing and way of thinking. Okay, fine, that's good. Then the arguments, S, plural here, and examples given, I firmly believe that although parental care provides an invaluable contribution to children's development. The role of teachers is much more practical and influential. It is predicted that, no comma, the role of teachers and instructors will increasingly grow in demand. Okay, so I liked this paragraph a lot. I already told you what I found wrong with this paragraph, but now you have another problem in your essay, and it has to do with your coherence and cohesion. The order of these two paragraphs is wrong. Since you feel that teachers are more influential, that paragraph has to go here. You have to reverse them, because you always put the side that we feel more strongly about towards the bottom, closer to our conclusion. All right? It might seem a little counterintuitive, but I assure you it is a standard convention of essay writing. All right, so you need to make that change. Let's take a look now at your second task. Okay, here it is. It's a letter to Albion. Let's see what you said. Dear Sir or Madam, dear examination team. No, just one or the other. I mean, I would have left this out and just stuck with Dear Sir or Madam. I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing, don't put a return here. I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing, and I wouldn't even have written it. I mean, this is not a time to be excessively cordial. Just start with this sentence. I am writing in response to your explanation request, okay, fine, for my no-show in the exam. My name is Rauf. Now, it's a formal letter, Rauf, so you really want to write your full name as well, okay, your last name. My name is Rauf. I don't know your last name. Student ID number, you didn't even have to say is, because then it's not a full sentence. And my student ID number is. Otherwise, you could have just said, my name is Rauf, last name, student ID number, this. Okay? I apologize for any inconvenience caused because I did not present. Well, no. I would like to apologize for the inconvenience. It's not really an inconvenience. You didn't inconvenience them. You just didn't show up. So I would like to apologize for not appearing for the examination. Okay? Obviously, I was prepared. Not obviously. It's not obvious to anyone. So get rid of obviously and then say, I was prepared for the exam a week earlier, but 2 days before the date, I caught flu which the next day resulted in a high temperature and lasted for 10 days. Although my doctor visited me for checkup, I could not obtain a sick note from her. Therefore, I had to collect it from hospital. So, as I was alone during my illness and had to stay at home until I recovered, I missed the deadline for submitting my sick note. Could you give me a chance to attend the exam in the next term? So that I do not have to pay an additional fee for taking the subject. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully. Okay, fine. So obviously there's some problems with your expression, but apart from that, there's another problem. Did you do this? Yes. This? Yes. This? Yes. Here's where your problem is. It says possible resolutions, plural. So how many resolutions did you offer? Just one. Okay. And so this would create a problem. When you see, you have to be very careful with the language that IELTS uses. When it says possible resolutions, plural, you should assume that they want more than one. You've only given one. You made it as a suggestion. And so even, they didn't ask you to request. They said possible resolutions. So what I wanted to see here, when you see possible resolutions, say, I would be happy to resit the exam next week, or I would be able to submit an extended paper to be graded in lieu of my examination. Okay, those are resolutions. Those are things that resolve the issue. Okay, so Rauf, you've got some things to work on here, so I'll let you get to that. You have to correct these, add to your error correction list, and of course write new essays. All right, so get to it, and I'll be here to see what you write next. Good luck.